to Team Bircham.
I'm Bronson. I'm the oldest.
I'm Breely. I'm the only girl. I'm Brax, and I like to play Legos.
I'm Brock. I like my dog Josie. I'm Bram, and I like Josie and Darkins and anything else including football.
And this is The Podcast. Join us each week where we're going to cover topics like faith, family teams, mindset, legacy, our everyday life with our kids,
and so much more. Join us each show as we sit around our kitchen table talking about what's important to our family. Hey everybody, welcome to Team Bircham, the podcast. Here we are talking about another week in the life of the Bircham family. More importantly than that, it's week in the life of people that are trying our best to follow Jesus and everything that we do. And so we had another busy week, which I think every family does no matter what. And that's one thing that I don't want to say when people ask me, how was your week? Oh, busy, crazy busy. Like, I don't want to wear that crazy busy crown. But it was a busy week, but it was a fun week, and it was things we chose to do. And so we will have to start off with our really last wrestling story of the season for our twins. We took them to the state tournament. And Bub, tell everybody about that experience.
It was the State Novice Wrestling Tournament. And so novice means it's their first or second year wrestling. They're new to the sport. They're learning how to do it. And they're going against other guys with that similar experience. And the twins are the youngest division. And we went out and they had a good time. They were there early, warmed up, ran around, did all that fun stuff. And they had a great fun time playing with their friends. They played with Army guys. I got him holding up an Army guy on the video, Army guys, and I played with them as a kid. And so it was just fun to see him do all those things. Bram got a medal, got 5th place, and Brock went 1 and 2. There were some victories, some defeats, some happy moments, and some sad moments along the way, just like life. And it was a much longer tournament than they are used to. They're used to going from 9 to 1 or 2, and they went till 6 o'clock almost.
I think later. And you guys got up and left the house by 6:15 a.m., right?
Yeah.
So I got there before the first match. I don't always go first thing with Daddy in the morning. That's their fun time and breakfast time and all of that. But it was fun experience, and I was so proud of both of our boys. Brock actually lost to a kid that he beat last week in the finals to get first, and that kid kind of shocked him right away and got him a pin early. And I love, again, the reaction that Bubba gave Brock was not that of a dissatisfied dad or that of a, what are you thinking, but of a big dad that's strong and loves his son. And every time the boys lost, so Bram only lost twice and won maybe 6, I think. But they would reach up their hands to Daddy, and that he would carry him back, or they had their head in his little neck and on his shoulder, and that was so precious. And that's such a true picture of our Heavenly Father, just loving us no matter what, never disappointed, always ready to welcome us. And so that was a really fun, beautiful reflection this weekend.
Yeah, it was a time where they're down, they're upset, and my job is to pick them up, comfort them, and remind them that I love them and I'm proud of them for going out and trying, going out and being brave and giving effort. And another thing that happened was Bronson wrestled in a high school wrestling tournament, and he's been working hard for he's a junior since his freshman year to improve at wrestling. He's been doing some one-on-one things, big group, with his team, and he just going and finding workouts, and he was able to beat some kids pretty soundly that last year similar kids would have beaten him, and he lost a match 4-3. And both you and Bronson were so upset after that match.
We always say, you can't blame anybody. In basketball, I coach basketball, and I've coached basketball for on and off for lots of years with my kids. And I always say, we're not going to be the family that's on the refs every second, really at all, because the refs, let them do their job. You can do your job. So I feel like I have been really good about not blaming refs, but Bronson was frustrated because he thought the other kid should have got some stalling calls. He thought he had, reversal at the end, and had the kid kind of cranked over in his back, and he didn't get any points for any of that. So he ended up losing 4-3. And I think we reflect our kids' emotions a lot. And he was like, Mom, I'm so mad. I'm like, I am too, brother. That was so good. And Bubba's like, it's okay. What can you learn? And it took us about 10 minutes to listen to him, but he's right. I think that will be actually a great learning experience. Sometimes we lose more. We learn more from losing than we do from winning.
Yeah, I've always said that no amount of complaining or griping or yelling at the officials ever changed one of their calls, ever swayed them to your side. And if anything, it just shows your athletes, it shows your kids, it shows the people around you that you can whine and complain. But the truth is, you're not going to get your way. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to execute and play to your best of your ability. And I told him, don't put the outcome of the game, the match, whatever it is, do not put that in the hands of the officials, because you're putting it into hands of a flawed human being who will make mistakes. That's guaranteed. Right. And they know when they make mistakes.
Right, I know. I wish people would lay off refs because it makes me sad. I'm like, they're humans too. Their dads are people too. Moms are people too. So yeah, but it was a great weekend. It was fun. And Saturday we actually felt so torn because we both went to the twins wrestling and we were there all day. And so Bronson was by himself with his teammates, which he was fine, but we hate missing his stuff. And then our other kids were at home hanging out, loving it, I think. In fact, when we got home, Breely, our 14-year-old, had everything cleaned, the sheets changed on the beds and remade, and roast and carrots and potatoes for dinner. So that was a really highlight of Saturday, and she was so proud.
She was. She showed some really grown-up behavior, and she's 14, going on 15, ninth grader, and there's been times where she would not do something I'm asking her to do. It's like, well, you do it. You're the adult. It's not my turn to be the adult. But then I tell her, I said, it's time. There's certain adult decisions that you're beginning to make, and your things you want to do. So you need to start making these decisions. You need to start doing these little things right. And so to see her make those decisions and see her to take care of what her responsibilities was so exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. She actually told you do it, you're the adult. I never heard her say that. So that was not very respectful.
Yeah, it doesn't bode very well for her when she does that. I say, nice try, do it anyway.
I've never heard her say that. She's usually very, very respectful. So
she does it in a respectful way. She's just telling me in her playful daughter.
Okay.
She's afraid to talk to adults sometimes in a way. So I'm like, break out of your shell, get used to talking to adults because you're going to be one someday.
Yeah, you're talking about like whenever she wants more stuff in the restaurant and she's like, can you ask him for more ketchup? And we're like, you ask him for more ketchup, really. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Yes,
I think.
Yes. Thank you for helping me.
That kind of sounded like you're talking about something you told her to do and she said, no, you do it.
No, okay.
So, okay, just protecting the integrity of my daughter here and making sure that people understand that she's not a total brat. Which at times I think our kids can be.
They can be.
And we can be too, right? So you asked me a question last week, and that was what I was looking forward to. So what are you looking forward to this week? What's coming up? And then we'll kind of get into what we're going to talk about today.
Well, tonight is a wrestling duel. Then this weekend is another varsity. It's varsity wrestling season. And then opportunity to go watch Breely play basketball. She played last night, and she played with great effort. As probably the best effort I've seen her play with all season. And that's about the only thing I get onto her about is I know I can tell when she's sprinting, I can tell when she's going hard, and I can tell when she's not. And but last night I told her I was proud of her effort.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and I'm looking forward to just, I don't know, I just enjoy the process of the week every day.
Mm-hmm. Which we're going to talk about because now that we have reevaluated some things we're doing in our life, is shifting some things. I always say you're not big steps from anything, but you're small shifts from everything. And I love the book called The Slight Edge. It talks about doing things over and over that are either going to benefit your life or harm your life. And I know that we have really enjoyed the rhythm that we're beginning to get in this season of our life, which we can talk more about. But I'll say that Bubba's number one line anytime our kids compete anything is what?
With the three things?
No, I enjoy.
Oh, I enjoy okay, I got you. She had to help me remind me. I enjoyed watching you play. I'm not going to critique, be the coach. That's not my job. I enjoyed watching you play. As a parent, I'm there to watch them participate in the sport, watch them play, and the only thing they can truly control is their effort.
Mm-hmm. I know early on when our kids started competing, Bubba said, I'm not going to be that dad. The whole way home, I'm talking to my kids about what they could have done better. because that ruins it for a lot of kids. And so that you held true. Gosh, our oldest is 16, and he always says, I enjoy watching you play. And later they might discuss things, and Bronson might say, man, on this, and they'll watch film together. But I feel that, you're never emotionally coaching our kids after the game, and I love that.
I remember so much. As a college athlete, I remember watching the film. I remember in practice, I could go play by play, what plays were good, what plays were bad. And I knew okay, this is the play where I messed up. And I am cringing
in the film room.
In the film room, what is coach going to say? And
right.
And I was, I was a kid that I knew when I messed up. I usually knew what I did wrong and how I could correct it.
Right. You didn't need people telling you over and over and over.
Oh, being
your
a
parents
dead horse.
in particular, probably. So anyway, let's talk about what we've really decided this year to kind of shift. And I know you have taken the lead in this, which I'm grateful for, because I truly feel like God has made the man the household, the head of the household for a reason, and I'm so grateful for that. But you have really been getting into family teams and rhythms and things like that. So let's talk about a little bit of that.
So a year ago, over a year ago, I started following on social media Jeff Bethke, and then his mentor is Jeremy Pryor, and they came up with the brand of family teams. And family teams is the concept, the idea of a family lives as a group, a family team, on multi-generational family team on mission, not a collection of individuals on separate mission in the same home. So if you took a basketball team and you had 5 players and all 5 players went out there to play defense. One is playing man, one is playing 2-3 zone, one is playing 3-2 zone, and one is playing boxing. They're all playing a different defense. They're all playing a different offense. They don't have a common vision, mission for what they're supposed to be doing. It's going to be an utter chaos and failure, and that's what so many Western families, American families do. Is it's whatever each individual of my family needs, that's what we're going to do. And so we as a family, because Miranda and I understand teams, about being on the same team to help each other get better. We understand what that takes and how you're supposed to do those things. And so a year ago, we did a family summit where we paused, we took stock of what happened last year, and we talked about what's going to happen the coming year. And I think it really helped to set the tempo and the idea and what we were going to do in 2019. Do you remember the family summit? We were in January in Hawaii, and we were talking about it.
Yeah, so we were by ourselves in Hawaii last year. We're so blessed because every single January we go to Maui, and my Arbonne, the company that I'm an independent consultant for, they pay for that for all the top leaders. And so that's a great way, because it's the very beginning of January. So we talked about that. We went through some things. And then this year we took our 3 oldest kids with us to Hawaii. And so that was fun to get to discuss with them. And it's pretty crazy because I Instagrammed a little bit of our first breakfast in Hawaii. And I think back and I'm like, take me back to Aloha Mixed Plate in Maui right now.
Especially because it's cold, it's rainy, it's in the upper 30s and rainy right now. It's not very fun to be outside.
Take me back. But so I tried to Instagram. I say tried because my oldest son is like, Mom, please don't film this. I don't know if every teenager kid does that, but I want to take pictures of my kids. I want to film my kids. But anyway, I was filming just a few snippets of it, and I had so many Instagram comments from my story, like, Miranda, what was that about? Or, I'm glad I feel normal. Your kids aren't answering questions. My kids will never answer when I ask them either. And so I'm like, we need to talk more about this because people are hungry for it. I know we were, but so we talked about different things that we wanted to reevaluate in our family and do different. And that was in January of this year.
Yeah, so we did another family summit. I went through the pictures on my phone and picked out highlights, and I just made a highlight folder for all the pictures. And we as a family just went through the reel of pictures, and we laughed, we talked about fun things, we talked about hard things, we talked about good things and bad things, and it was an incredible year. And I think we were more as a couple, as a family, more intentional with what we did. And one big thing that we started doing was weekly rhythms. Each week we try to have a set order of things where we're going to do things in a certain way. And the biggest thing is we're going to take a pause each week, and where God said to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, where the Sabbath in the Bible, it says the Sabbath was made for man, not the man for the Sabbath. And so God created that for us. And so we started doing that early last summer. And every Saturday night we would stop until every Sunday night, and we would have a big family celebration dinner. We talked about what we wanted to celebrate that week. We talked about what we're looking forward to the coming week. Whoever was in our home, from family to friends, sat down with us and participated with us. And it gave us permission to rest, to pause. And then when Monday came, it was time to go, and we were refreshed and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. I was listening to a book, and it was talking about how most of the Western culture, we view our life as linear, just like one thing, the next, like never ending until you die. It's just the next task, the next thing. And that's not the way that God designed. And I know we only know what we know, and we've only ever, been raised in America. But I know that, a lot of the world doesn't do it the way we do it. And I love being American, don't get me wrong, but I know that there's things we can learn from other cultures. Living over in Haiti in 2016, we learned how poorly we were doing relationships. People would come over and they would talk for 4 hours. Like, we ordered ice cream one night from this little ministry, and the person came to deliver it, this Haitian man, and we had recognized him. He sat with he and his wife in our house for like 2 hours at night. Like, when most people deliver something to your door, you're like, thank you, exchange, bye. It's transactional. And so much more relationship oriented in Haiti, and we loved it, and our kids loved it. And people would come over and they'd stay. People would come over on Sunday and they'd fall asleep on our couch, and we'd all kind of wake up like, oh, and I love that. And actually, some of my friends commented when we came back from Haiti that year, you are like so different because you listen more, Miranda. You're not always in a hurry. You're not always saying, my car's running, I gotta go. And we learned that. And then the same thing in Vietnam when we were there in 2018. People are very relational and make time for that. And I think sometimes I've been so tired, I didn't want to have people over. I didn't want to. And we've always, I think, done a good job having people over, but I'm even saying more so. So Sundays, we give ourselves permission to take naps, to hang out, to do what makes us feel restful. We still, of course, make church a huge priority in the morning and in the evening, but it is good. It's a reset. And I've been finding myself really looking forward to that Saturday night time.
Yeah, on Sunday nights, we go and do our church of small group ministry and we go and sometimes we eat as a small group, and all the kids are there, and it's chaotic and loud, but it's a fun experience to where we see all the parents interacting, and some of the parents have infants and small kids, and some of them have kids our age, and so we're all interacting with each other, having a good time, and then they go to their class, we go to our class, and really dive into being community with each other. And so it takes a couple of hours. And then, those, just thinking back on Haiti and Vietnam, and then I got to do a mission trip with an Armenian people group. And just, there's so much we can learn from other people about, just take the time to pause and make them feel important. Take the time to pause and interact with them, to listen to them, to ask questions. One guy asked me today, it was a great question, not how you doing, he said, how's your soul? And it's almost like he peered through my facade, or that I can put up, the wall that I can put up. He peered straight into that, to my heart. And I can only react one way, with the truth of what's going on in my heart, what's going on with my walk with Christ, what's going on with my marriage, what's going on with my kids, in business, and what's going on in ministry. And he peered into that, and with one question, how's your soul? And we had a great conversation.
That's awesome. Speaking of how's your soul, or how are you doing? This week we've really been taking steps towards maybe becoming foster parents again. And I think that's we're kind of like wrestling with it, because so I can only imagine when you said, how's your soul? You're probably like, let me tell you. We've had several foster kids through our home over the years, and I feel like at times we definitely weren't ready for them, but we felt like we were acting out of obedience. Early on, we took in 3 kids, one of which was Bubba's students. He was 7th grade, and then his 2 siblings. And we had a 2-year-old and a newborn at the time, in a tiny little house, and a new job going on. I just started my RN business, and it was hard. But I feel like that step of obedience has helped set up our life to listen to the Lord and say yes. And so we're kind of feeling that knock on our heart again, although it's a struggle because, 5 kids is already hard at times, but the need here in Oklahoma and probably everywhere for foster care is so huge. And so what are you thinking about? Because I know we mentioned that to our small group the other night. We said, pray for us about this. And boy, people started asking questions. Other people were going, I've been thinking about that too, but I keep thinking maybe it's not the right time. And I think with anything, getting healthy, starting a new career, any new rhythms, it's not the right time. And I think you can do that all day long if you're not careful, because we never feel ready, even for kids, right? People said if you wait till you're ready for kids financially in every way, you'll never have them. So talk to me about what's going on in your heart with foster care and all of that.
Well, for me, as with a lot of ideas, I'm going to look at all the possibilities, all the wide range of the spectrum of what can go wrong, what can go right, how can it benefit us, how can it hurt us, what are the hurdles, and what are the stepping stones. I look at all those things, and I'm able to. It's hard, it's scary. Mm-hmm. I don't want to, with Bronson going in to the second half of his junior year, leading up to his senior year, don't want to take anything away from that. I want him to enjoy the experience, but at the same time, life's not all about you, kid. I'm unapologetically, we doing it as a team. Part of doing things as a team is sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice certain things and desires that I want to do for the benefit and the betterment of the team, of the group. And so our family as a team, as a group, there's things that we sacrifice for the betterment or the benefit of the family. And if that is sacrificing some freedoms so that we can take care of help a child in need in a difficult time, so be it. It is scary. I'm not scared of much of anything, but it is scary.
Well, we've been through it. That's why we're scared. I'll tell you a funny, interesting story. I was homeschooling our kids, and we had 3 foster kids, but they were on their way out. 2 were going back home. One was getting adopted. We have our 3 biological kids. And I got a text that said, hey, do you know any homes for twin boys? They were just born. Mom was on drugs. We just need somebody to take them. And in my heart, I knew that's me. Even though on our DHS form we'd filled out, we said no children under 2. I wrote that in capitals. And I remember coming home, Bubba was working in the yard, and I told my kids, guys, how would you like this? And they're like, yeah, let's do it, Mom. So I had a friend there, and she had her kids.
You had 2 female friends there. You had 2 female friends there, and all of their kids. There was 12 kids, it seemed like, at the house.
Yeah. So I remember walking in and seeing Bubba in the yard and saying to him, okay, can we do this? And he was like, no, we're not talking about this right now. And my friend was like, we'll help you. And he's like, yeah, that's what you say till nighttime. And he said, no, we're not doing newborns, Miranda. We're just getting these other kids transitioning. Let's wait a minute. And I really took advice from a friend that said, Miranda, don't try to beg him, don't try to nag him, just pray. And so I began to pray about it, and by Monday, I hadn't really said a word, I don't think, all weekend. I don't know if that's
very little.
That's a miracle for me.
Which is impressive for you.
That is impressive for me. And Monday morning, he woke up and he goes, hey, are you gonna go get those twins from the hospital or what? And I'm like, hey, what? And so I went up and visited, and Bubba and I did that day with our friend Carla. Fell in love with them, and I already thought to myself, oh no, I'm gonna fall in love with these babies, and I might have to give them back, which is part of foster care, right? That's part of what you're signing up for. But the next day we picked them up, and 2 days later I actually had to go to our big Arbonne conference. I got to go to it, and so I left them with a friend and Bubba, and had people on, armies of people helping. But that wasn't the perfect time either. I was really building my business and momentum at that time. It didn't make sense to anybody else. But now we look back, and it was hard. In 18 months, it took us 18 months to get to adopt them, but it was so worth it. And they are bird chips through and through. And so I just think, I don't want to overthink. I want to say, yes, Lord. Here am I, Lord. Send me. And that's not just about sending you overseas to, do missions. Send me where I am. Send my family. Use it. Holy Spirit, come in. Be a part of our house. Use our family for ministry. Use our home for ministry. Let us be a beacon of light. And, our kids are almost all for it. I think that Bronson, our oldest, is a little bit nervous because he is very particular, but he's such a good brother. And so anyway, we're praying about it, but we don't want to pray too long and just keep going, not yet. So in the next few weeks, I might have an update about that. But we did watch my friend's, she has 3 foster babies right now. And we watched 2 of them just last Monday, and it was hard, and it threw off our life. And I was trying to get ready for an Arbonne party, and they were screaming. And I was like, you gotta get him, I gotta go. And I was thinking, this brings back flashbacks, oh no. So the next day, my daughter said, Mom, I really want to get a foster baby, but just 1. And I'm like, we're not planning to get 2 unless it's twins again. But anyway, it's tough. But I think about that verse that says, if you love your life, you'll lose it. But if you lose your life for my sake, then you'll gain it. And I kind of think this would be an instance. Like, we love our life. We do. We have a great life. We both have time freedom, own my own moment. We own our own business. Our kids are all in school. You know, we're healthy. I mean, we've got money to buy groceries. I mean, all such blessings. But I'm like, uh-oh, I don't want to get in a situation where I'm loving my life so much that I'm not being willing to sacrifice. So.
Yeah, it is scary. And whenever we have those babies, the other day, and feeding the bottle and teaching Bronson and showing Breely about feeding babies. And, you know, maybe I shouldn't say this, but this is why you don't have sex before you're married, kids. I was just trying to help them understand, like, here's a baby, hold it, change its diaper, feed him the bottle. Now you got to burp the baby. And now it might spit up on you. Oh, it did spit up on you. And it was comical.
Yeah. Oh, you're tired? Sorry. You have to stay up. Oh, it spit up on you again? I'm sorry. Oh, it pooped for the 3rd time? Bummer. Go take out the trash. Obviously, that's not the only reason they're not supposed to have sex before marriage. And we teach them that.
Right.
And we know it's a biblical standard for what God expects for us, and he's protecting us in that. But I thought Bronson came down and I handed him one of the babies, and I'm like, Bronson, how many daddies are 16 and they have a baby like this? Or, especially in other countries, but even here in America, really, you're 14, this could be your child. Are you kidding me? And a lot of the times, those are some of the foster babies, have very young teenage moms. And so, anyway, and it's a self-sacrificial thing, which is what Jesus modeled on earth and what we want to model for our kids. One of the big things I say to parents all the time, because they'll say, you have such good kids, and we do, and obviously they're not perfect in any way, and we're not perfect parents, but we haven't just sat around our table going, eat your food, kids, there's starving people in Africa. They've seen starving people. They've seen hungry kids on the other side of town from us, or even probably near us. But with ministries we've done, ever since Bronson was little, we did a Good Shepherd ministry. And, we got to know kids that just lived in our same little town that didn't eat on the weekends, that, didn't have a home life that our kids had. But they also seen and made friends with people in Haiti and in Vietnam and a lot of places. And I feel that our kids are different, and your kids can be different too if you don't just tell them, but you show them. And that's one thing we've tried to do, show our kids over and over and over the need and how to share, why we're going to share, why life is not all about you. I buy copies of The Purpose Driven Life by the dozens. Like the lady at the old used bookstore knows me, texts me whenever she has a lot. I mean, I have bought hundreds this year, in 2019, hundreds, and already a lot this year. And the first line of that book says, it's not about you. And so I think we can all go back to that when our life starts to look a little bit whacked out. It's not about us. What do we need to be doing?
I think it goes back to, as a parent, you're the leader of your home. You're in charge. You're not facilitating your kids' wishes, wants, and dreams. You're the leader. And as a leader, you're not at the back of the line telling them what to do, hoping they get there. You're at the front of the line, charging through, leading the way, clearing a path, saying, follow me. And sometimes it's follow me. Let me teach you how to pray. Follow me. Let me teach you how to read the Bible and to just to read it and try to understand it. Follow me. And here's how you learn how to take care of other people, to be a servant of God. And if it's not, hey, go to church and learn these things, it's more of, hey, follow me and let's go. We're going to do this together as a group. And that's not something that I feel that has been beneficial to our kids, is whether they want to or not, they went with us. When we went to Vietnam, we spent 6 weeks in Vietnam. Bronson was not happy because he was getting so many points in Fortnite, and he was getting good at it. And now Fortnite the craze has kind of died down, and everybody is calming down. But Fortnite was a huge thing. And so, but at the end of that time, he grew as a follower of Christ. He became a better big brother. He became a better leader. of his siblings, because he learned how to navigate a giant big city and to witness and share Christ in a different way.
You know, you said two things. That one, we model for our kids. And so like we model for our kids how we're going to treat people, even referees. Like we model for our kids that we can't whine and scream if we don't get our way all the time. You know, we try to model everything for them. But you also said we're not going to facilitate our kids' wishes, wants, and dreams. Like I want to stop on that, because obviously, like, we want to encourage our kids, their dreams. We want to model how to go after your dreams. I always say one of the best things that I can do for my kids is be excellent at my business and be excellent at things that I'm trying to do, pursuing them with all my heart, because then my kids see that. We always have told our kids, my Bronson used to say, I really want to be good at basketball. I really want to be a good shooter. And I'm like, honey, I remember in 7th grade, he's like, I want this and I want that. And I was like, everybody wants things. Like every 7th grade boy that plays basketball wants to be good at it, right? But wanting is not enough. It's doing. That's how you get what you want. And so we do encourage our kids. We can't be the facilitators of that. We can't make them get what they want. We model for how you're supposed to work for that. You know, the self-talk that you're supposed to have, things like that. So
yeah, Colt McCoy was a highly successful quarterback for Texas, the Texas Longhorns, and played in the NFL. And his dad was his high school football coach. And his dad, I heard him do a speech once, and he was telling what he did for his sons, what he did for his players was he told them to prepare your child for the path, not the path for your child. Every child has a path they need to go down, but if I prepare my child for the ups and downs, the curveballs that are thrown along the way of the path, then they can go down that road and follow the direction Christ is leading them in. Rather than I'm pulling them and dragging them along the way and I dictate everything they need to do. That's where parents, if I were to go back in time and talk to all my high school, the parents to my high school players, and I would say, just take the time to prepare your child for the path, because the path will, if they work hard, if they put in the effort and the time, then it will be revealed where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Man, there's so many parenthood things we love discussing, and we're going through a situation right now, and I was talking to my friend today, and she said, Miranda, I said, I wish I could know what my pastor's wife would do, or other people that I look up to. What would they do in the situation? Because I want to remain blameless in it. And she said, ask them. Ask people take you to lunch. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Like, I don't need to wonder. I can actually ask. And I love that we have mentors that have gone before us, and we love if we can encourage you guys at all through anything that we say. So it's been fun to share with you guys today, and I can't wait to be able to come back again and tell more stories and discuss this even further.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening, and please rate and review the podcast and just make a difference in all those around you this week. See you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please rate and review it.
Follow my mom and dad on social media from Instagram to Facebook. Thank you for listening.